I want to thank the gentleman from Texas, and now I recognize the gentleman from Nebraska, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to our witnesses. This is a very timely conversation that I will say should have happened some time ago, but did not. But in February 2022, the Biden administration issued guidance allowing states to forego due diligence and fact-finding for large volumes of suspicious unemployment claims, potentially involving billions of fraudulently obtained taxpayer dollars. The guidance provides multiple loopholes for how states may apply blanket waivers of recovery of overpayments. For example, a state may accept without challenge that an individual who responded no to being unemployed, partially unemployed, or unable or unavailable to work is entitled to a waiver of recovery of overpayments with no determination as to whether the individual was truthful in their response. This potentially allows those perpetrating fraud within the UI system to continue and leaves hundreds of thousands of unresolved claims involving stolen identities belonging to identity theft victims, including first responders, government personnel, and school employees. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to submit for the record a letter that Ways and Means Republicans sent to the Department of Labor on February 18, 2022, nearly a year ago, requesting an immediate stay of the effective date of this guidance and an explanation of how the department would ensure the guidance would not undermine existing investigations.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. In their response to our letter, DOL said that the guidance was developed in response to requests from states which were, quote, seeking greater efficiencies in the use of limited government resources. States noted that it was taking a significant amount of time and resources to process waivers on a case-by-case basis for overpayments, end quote. DOL also responded that the guidance specifically instructed states that they may not waive overpayments due to fraud. This response was far from reassuring. In fact, DOL's response increased my concern regarding this waiver policy, which is still in place today, because it suggests that states were dealing with a backlog of suspicious claims, and DOL provided an easy opportunity for them to forego the investigation and fact-finding needed to know whether they were fraudulent in the first place. It further eliminated any incentive for states to track down fraud. This action is particularly reckless in light of White House estimates the federal and state UI program had a 22.2% improper payment rate for FY 2022. Mr. Turner, my question is for you. One of the questions we asked in our letter was whether DOL consulted with your office before issuing this guidance. Given the OIG's work on ensuring recovery of taxpayer dollars, I would like to understand how your work will continue now that this guidance is in place, and in particular, any impact on your ability to initiate and conduct investigation and prosecution of fraudulent activity in pandemic unemployment programs. My understanding is that this is part of your revised pandemic oversight plan.
Thanks, Representative. Let me just say we do plan on doing some work on FY23 to review that policy. It was a policy the department made, and as it was a policy that is a programmatic decision which we do not have any oversight of at that point. Because that was their decision. As independents, we have oversight at the end of the day, but they did not consult with us. They made us aware that this is what they were doing with the policy, and so because we could not advise them, we did make it a point to take a look at that, because we do believe that there's a possibility that fraud could take place, although they did tell us that they were going to put a waiver out, and we expect to take a look again before the year is out.
Okay, thank you. And how many of these waivers have been issued, and is DOL collecting the data at all, or is it just not ending up where it needs to go?
At this point, we do not know how many waivers have been issued as far as across the country, but that's why that work is so important as we take a closer look at it.
And so, I mean, there's no way to know up until this point?
Well, we were asked to take a look at, I think, last FY, and we decided to put that on our audit plan this year. So in the spring, we are going to take a look and find out just the extent of the problem.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I hope that, in light of the circumstances of COVID, and I think well-intended efforts on the part of this committee and this administration, previous administration, everyone involved at the time, that we can avoid the bad things that happened previously. I worry that after last night's speech, we're in a worse place, perhaps than ever before, in terms of what we need to do and what we need to accomplish, working together. Thank you. I yield back.